Largest gathering of Iranians abroad in Paris. Victory of justice, protection of Ashraf. Villepinte, Paris, June 18, 2011. In a large and exhilarating gathering held in the Villepinte Auditorium near Paris on Saturday, June 18, 2011, Iranians called for the immediate protection of Ashraf by the UN with assistance provided by the US and EU. They also condemned any kind of displacement of Ashraf residents inside Iraq and declared their support for Europe's peaceful long-term solution for Ashraf. The participants described maintaining the terrorist tag against the PMOI by the US State Department as participating in the repression of the Iranian people and resistance. The attendees called on the US government to comply with last July's verdict of the US Court of Appeals in Washington and immediately revoke the PMOI's terrorist designation. Hundreds of prominent politicians and MPs representing a broad range of political views from countries in 5 continents of the globe also took part in the largest gathering of its kind by Iranian exiles. In addition to expressing their support for the Iranian resistance and defending Ashraf's rights, the high-profile dignitaries also called for the recognition of the National Council of Resistance by the international community. The event's keynote speaker was Mrs. Maryam Rajavi, President-elect of the Iranian Resistance. Her address was followed by the following speakers: Rudolph Giuliani, former New York City mayor and presidential candidate; US Congressman Bob Filner; Rita Sussmouth, former Speaker of the German Parliament; Judge Michael Mukasey, former US Attorney General; Ambassador John Bruton, former Prime Minister of Ireland and EU Ambassador to the US; Jean-Pierre Bérard, member of the French National Assembly; Andrew Card, White House Chief of Staff of President George W. Bush; Tom Ridge, former US Secretary of Homeland Security; Alejo Vidal Quadras, European Parliament Vice President; Geir Hard, former Prime Minister of Iceland; Lord Corbett of Castlevale, head of the Labour Peers Group in the UK House of Lords; Nariman Al-Raousan, member of the Jordanian Parliament; Adey the Twin, author and founder of the Women Forum; Sid Ahmad Ghazali, former Prime Minister of Algeria; Robert Torricelli, former US Senator; Carlo Ciccioli, member of the Italian Parliament; Jean-Charles Rillet, member of the Swiss Federal Parliament; and Henry Leclerc, honorary president of the Human Rights League of France. In her speech, Mrs. Rajavi described the escalating feuds among the officials of the mullah's regime as the trimmers before the regime's downfall and a reflection of discontent and crisis prevailing in the streets, and said,
حمله 19 فروردین به اشرف واکنش رژیم برای مهار نیروی سرکش آزادی در جامعه ایران مخصوصاً بعد از شعله‌ور شدن دوباره آتش قیام‌ها از زیر خاکستر خیانت بود. جامعه جهانی به ویژه ملل متحد و آمریکا در قبال حفاظت و امنیت ساکنان اشرف مسئولند. با آنها میگوییم مجاز نیستید به بهانه احترام به حق حاکمیت عراق در قبال جنایت علیه بشریت و جنایت جنگی بیعملی پیشه کنید. این نقض آشکار تعهدات بین المللی است. میخواهم تاکید کنم همچنان که در طرح اروپا آمده است باید محاصره اشرف خاتمه پیدا کند. باید افراد مسلح از اشرف بیرون بروند و باید تحقیقات بی‌طرفانه بین المللی درباره جنایت 19 فروردین بلادرنگ آغاز شود. پس تا تعیین تکلیف نهایی لازم است ملل متحد حفاظت اشرف را بر عهده بگیرد و ناظران سازمان ملل در اشرف مستقر شوند. از ایالات متحده و اتحادیه اروپا فقط می‌خواهیم حفاظت همین ناظران را تأمین کنند، همچنان که در بستن راه تغییر در ایران مسئولیت دارد، زیرا نیروی اصلی تغییر در ایران را با یک برچسب واهی به بند کشیده است. بنابراین به آنها میگوییم به حکم دادگاه و به فراخوان نمایندگان کنگره و شخصیت‌ها و صاحب نظران بلند پایه آمریکا توجه کنید که خواهان لغو برچسب تروریسم و به رسمیت شناختن مقاومت ایران هستند. بر این اساس ما ایالات متحده را فرا می‌خوانیم که به این نامگذاری رسوا خاتمه دهد.
سلام اشرف! ویوا اشرف! ویوا اشرف! ویوا اشرف! ویوا اشرف! We have many distinguished guests coming from across the world, from the United States, Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. Over 30 parliamentary delegations are with us this afternoon from different countries representing a majority of their parliaments in Congress. I welcome all of you to this historic occasion, gathering support for the Iranian people's resistance for democracy under the leadership of Maryam Rajavi. Viva Maryam Rajavi! Viva Ashraf! Viva Maryam Rajavi! Viva Ashraf! Today, all of you who are gathered here are speaking with one voice, and that voice can be heard all the way to Tehran. Today is a day of solidarity. Today is a day of camaraderie. Today, we all are behind the campaign to free Ashraf and to protect its residents. Ashraf, Ashraf, Azadi! Ashraf, Ashraf, Azadi! Ashraf, Ashraf, Azadi!
Here, united in their common purpose to bring freedom and democracy to their country, I realize how powerful your movement is, and I understand why the tyrants that have been oppressing Iran for the last 3 decades are so afraid of you and dedicate so much effort to build around you a wall of lies and fabrications. Let me now turn my thoughts and my deepest feelings of affection and admiration to our front line, to our heroes, to our martyrs. Let me embrace, separated by the physical distance, but close in the heart, to the men and women in Ashraf City. Their generosity, their courage, their determination are an inexhaustible source of inspiration for all of us. Dear friends of Ashraf, if you are listening to me, if you are watching me, be sure that we are working intensively to ensure your security and to take you out of the dark prison that the Iraqi government, under the influence of the Mullah's regime, has made of what was until very recently a bright garden of freedom and hope in the middle of the desert. We in the European Parliament, we are urging the High Representative of the European Union for Foreign and Security Policy, Catherine Ashton, to lead the implementation of the plan proposed by the European Parliament delegation for Iraq, in full coordination with the United Nations and the United States, to transfer the residents in Ashraf to democratic countries, accepting to welcome them and ensuring in the meanwhile their security and the respect of their rights as protected persons under the Geneva Convention.
Iraq's Prime Minister Maliki, like his sponsors in Tehran, stole the parliamentary election, denying people there the leadership for which they voted. That is why, in clear and deliberate breach of undertakings he gave to ensure the safety and security of Ashraf residents, Mr. Maliki is now helping his mullah masters to demolish Ashraf, killing and wounding female and male residents indiscriminately. The world can no longer avert its eyes from the crimes against humanity that Maliki has ordered and carried out. It adds up to a bloody Srebrenica-style massacre. Neither he nor the mullahs can be allowed to win. Ashraf will live. And as Mrs. Rajavi so well said, arguments that Iraqi sovereignty must be respected are merely an excuse for not taking action to end the war crimes committed at Ashraf and to prevent those others now being planned. And I have a direct question for Mr. Maliki as well. If you claim to have done nothing wrong at Ashraf and are not planning to do so, why not allow a group of parliamentarians from around the world to see for themselves? You've denied access to a delegation from the European Parliament. You denied access a couple of weeks ago to a delegation from the American Congress. If you've nothing to hide, Mr. Maliki, then you've nothing. If you've nothing to fear, Mr. Maliki, then you've got nothing to hide. I also have to ask if these brutal actions by the Iraqi government against Ashraf are what they think British and other coalition troops gave their lives for or suffered dreadful injuries. Is this the democracy, the best that Iraqis are allowed to build? I don't believe it. Neither we here, nor those listening to us, nor those at Ashraf will be silenced. We will continue to demand that the UN acts to prevent the 21st century's version of the Nazis' hideous final solution at Ashraf.